And welcome into the Backstage Pass, the final show of the week here on a Friday TGIF version. And yeah, we're going to have a little fun tonight out there at Riverfest here on a Friday. Texas country artist Roger Krager and also Texas country artist Kevin Fowler out there tonight. Of course, tickets still available, and the rain looks like it's going to hold off down here. So we get to see those guys play and say hello to some friends of ours. Again, and thanks to Toir Guitars and Bangtail Whiskey. And by the way, folks, Bangtail Whiskey is now also the official whiskey sponsor of the Justin Moore podcast. Just found that out today. So you can take a listen to Justin Moore's podcast and keep hearing about Bangtail Whiskey. It's good. Go get your bottle at the Easy Liquor app out there. And also thanks to JK Subaru. Brandon Morrell, Jeff McMahon here, and pleased to welcome in. I call her music royalty. She's done so much out there. I could read off the resume in like 2 minutes, and it would be just that good. Jenn Bostic joins us here on the show. Jen, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you being here too. And I could start a number of places, but you know, this question has come up so many times over the last few days that Jeff and I have been doing the show. And it's how you guys kept yourself as musicians, how you kept yourself busy during what was uncertain times last year. I mean, what did you kind of find yourself getting into more? Was it the songwriting? Was it family time? A little bit of both? How did you keep yourself busy?
Yeah, I really pressed into family time. I'm usually on the road so often. So it was probably the most time my husband and I have spent in the same city since we've known each other. So I was really thankful for that. I have done a lot of online concerts. Writing has been at least it was a little tough at the beginning. I feel like we were all feeling so many emotions that sometimes when it's so fresh, it's hard to really pour it into a song. But I feel like over the last 7 months or so, I've finally been able to crack into some good songwriting, and it's crazy to see these songs that you write, you know, over one of these many virtual platforms, and then you see the song being released, and you're like, I never even haven't seen the artist since any of this happened. But it's been, you know, challenging for all of us, but I'm thankful for people who still tune into virtual experiences and are generous with their time and finances.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Jen, I don't know what I was finding and what all I wasn't finding, but it appears that you, being in Nashville, I think you live in Nashville, being in Nashville, so many people kind of, everything they do is based on a co-write. I get the impression that you write a lot alone. I mean, you do co-write, but is that true, or am I just not finding all the information?
Yes, I do write by myself quite a bit, but I love collaborating. I think that whether it's with a producer or other songwriters or both, it's been, just a way to grow. I feel like you can learn something from everybody in the room, as you know. So I do a lot of co-writing in Nashville, and that's been a weird thing too, is to not get in a room with somebody at a publishing house somewhere writing a song.
Yeah.
You know, we're all doing it on computer.
You know, your music too, Jen, is so good across all these different genres out there with the blues, the soul, the country, the pop, the gospel. I love the album that you guys did back in 2018. I believe it was called Revival. Was one of my favorite ones that you guys put out. Talk about just that blend and how you capture so many different fans of all those different genres of music and how it all kind of comes together.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, I have struggled to stay in a genre box, which I think for marketability has maybe been a challenge, but for the listeners who have kind of followed me throughout my career, I feel like people like that they don't necessarily know what they're going to get next. And I just love too much music. You know, I was raised listening to Emmylou Harris and Bonnie Raitt, and my brother loved Bill Withers, so I was always hearing that, and country and pop and musical theater. So I just heard so much and absorbed so much like a sponge that when I go to pour it out, there's bits and pieces of a lot of different things. And I grew up singing in church, so of course the gospel stuff comes really naturally as well. But I think that record in particular was just such a passion project. I had left the management and publishing deal I had been working with, and I just made a record at House of Blues with a bunch of my friends, and it was the most just fulfilling project, you know, to really just sing whatever came out. And we, you know, recorded the record in 2-3 days, as you do in Nashville. But yeah, it's still a favorite of mine for sure.
You know, one of the things I know that you kind of talked about, well, country this and pop that. And so many people in interviews like this, because they want to try to appeal to everybody, they throw all those words out. but you really mean it. I mean, like you listen to like Wrong Thing sounds like a Motown record to me.
Thank you.
You know, and then you've got the Roads or Whirly stuff at the top of Lonely, which is kind of that blues thing, and I mean, you really do explore all that stuff. Well, I mean, you do kind of in your career, but it's really not lip service. You really do have that disparity and mix of stuff in your career and also on that record.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. There's a lot of great songs in there, and one I was going to ask you about before we play one here on the show is off that record Revival is Love You. Where did the concept of that one kind of come together? Because that's also a beautiful tune.
Thank you. I wrote that one with Bart Walker, who's actually singing and playing electric guitar on it. The song was written for my husband. We've been married for 10 years now. We just celebrated 10 years. And the day of our wedding, actually, we were supposed to have this beautiful beach wedding. And we had a plan to get baptized in the middle of our ceremony. And we woke up that day, and it was like just torrential downpour. Like trees were bending in half. It was not your typical beach wedding scenario. And so I remember turning on the news, and the weatherman was like, "Whatever you do, don't go on the beach today." And I'm like, "I'm getting married on the beach." So we did it. We went out and got married in the rain, and it was perfect. And you know, I feel like when you find, I happened to marry my best friend, and I'm super thankful for that, because we just do life together, and he supports and encourages this crazy dream of mine. And it's hard, you know, marriage is hard, and I think people don't talk about that a lot, but I feel like when you get through those rough seasons, it just makes you that much stronger. So songs about my husband.
Love it. Good stuff right here. Well, Jeff, time to hear those great tones out there from the great Jenn Bostic here on the show. So, Jenn, I can tell you the single is fantastic. It's Jealous of the Angels. Amazing Grace is out there across all the digital platforms. Wherever you want to start here, because I know it's going to be a great performance.
Well, thank you so much. So I'll start with Love You, since we just talked about that.
Okay.
That's all right.
That'll work.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the first time we kissed. You were so nervous that you almost missed. We spent all night talking, and though it didn't make sense, I knew that that first kiss would be the last one I'd have. Well, I loved you then, and I love you still. I always have, and I always will. It won't change with the seasons. Even broken hearts heal. I loved you then, I love you still. I can still feel the rain that poured down on that beach. The day we said adieu, got all the luck we'll ever need. And if I'm honest, after all we've come through, I could still light a fire with what I'm feeling for you. Well, I Honey, I loved you then, and I love you still. I know I shouldn't wish for time to go by so quick. Oh, but I can't wait to be sitting in a rocking chair with weathered skin and silver hair, spinning this ring on my hand, saying I loved you then, yeah, and I love you still. Well, I always have, and baby, I always will. It won't change with the seasons, even broken hearts heal. Honey, I loved you then, and I love you still.
If you're looking for one of the most beautiful and playable custom acoustics on the planet, look no further than Ed Rice at Toir Guitars. Ed is a true artist, transforming exotic woods into magnificent, sweet-sounding instruments. Go to toirguitars.us, that's TOIRGUITARS.us, and contact Ed today.
I'm laughing because he put this on the screen there. I love that, which is great there. Which is here on the show. Morrell McMahon back here, the Backstage Pass, the great record Revival. Love it. Great performance. Man, if you don't feel it in that song. And I saw you, Jeff, that little swaying back and forth and that kind of.
I was there, man. I was right there.
He was feeling it, Jen, no doubt. Such a beautiful song. And you've done so many great things, not just with that record, but records in the past. And we'll get to some of these great accomplishments too. But I want to ask you about the artwork for that particular record Revival. You got your hand on your hips and like the face is turning sideways. Like she means business, Jeff. So whoever did the artwork for you on that, Jen, it really came out beautiful. Who do you accredit that to? That's a great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So one of my best friends in the whole world, her name's Sarah Kaus. She and I actually flew over to Iceland to shoot that cover. And it was kind of just a girl's trip mixed with just 3 days of crazy photography. I mean, the weather we got every single season while we were there. It was intense, every single element. And then a guy named James Muriel did the design of the whole thing for the record. So it was the most memorable photo shoot of all time. And definitely just, I felt like that record in particular, you know, I had made these bold decisions to kind of carve my own path and do the music that my heart was just pounding to make. And so when I finally was releasing into the world, it felt like the title of the record is Revival, but it felt like a personal revival too, of just this music that needed to pour out of me. And so I really wanted to make sure there was a strong image to represent that. So I'm glad you like it.
I did. I thought that was a beautiful cover there. I'm going to go back to the great album there, Faithful, which I'm sure was fun to work on too, because loved a lot of tracks on there, Hurting Me, Hurting You, and also kind of Feel Like Falling in Love. Tell me about Faithful and just what it was like to work on that project too.
Yeah, so that record was crazy. I had just come off of some success with a song you mentioned earlier, Jealous of the Angels, and I had a bunch of radio play over in England, and that opened some doors to work with various songwriters and producers in Los Angeles and London and Nashville. And so I worked with tons of different people, and that record actually has 6 different producers on it. And in that mix, as you could imagine, that's the record right before Revival, and I felt like I got a little bit lost when creating that record. I think those songs are still authentically me, but sonically it's all over the map, because of course when you're collaborating with somebody, you know, you're pulling bits of you and bits of them, and if the synergy's not 100%, you know, it's not 100% of you feel like sometimes. And so I love that record. I'm so proud of it. But I think my favorite songs on that particular album are the ones that I wrote with Lauren Christie, who I actually continue to work with. That was kind of my introduction to meeting her. She's an incredible songwriter and producer. She has worked with Avril Lavigne and BB Rexa and just tons of different people in the pop world, and has had many Grammys. So I was really thankful to get a chance to work with her. And I remember the first time we wrote, we weren't even meant to have a writing session. We were just meant to have coffee, and 5 minutes into our coffee, we started talking songs, and all of a sudden that 2 songs came out that day. We shared our entire, you know, journeys with each other, and there was just this immediate sisterhood. So I feel like that introduction, and her brother Brandon produced the record, those records, the ones that I wrote with Lauren, and that was just such a beautiful introduction to our friendship that remains. I mean, I just finished a project that hopefully will come out early 2022, but she and I wrote the entire record with some other co-writers and producers as well. But it's amazing what can happen when you get 2 hearts and minds that are just so paralleled, and the music that comes out of that can just be really special. So that was the introduction of that for me.
Well, and I would think, unlike that record, the record that you're going to be working on or that you're going to be releasing, now you are probably more prepared to keep a handle on it and create the cohesion among those various contributors that you had less experience, not no experience, but coming off of that first single, 6 producers, how are you supposed to have a cohesive thought if nobody's driving? Is that fair?
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. And I think that's one of the reasons I kind of made the decision to step off and do Revival, is I had to trust my own voice again. I think I had just been really green when I first moved to Nashville and really naive, and I just wanted to make music. And then in the swing of that, I feel like I found out kind of who I was, but I loved all these different genres, and I needed to kind of have a break and just do something that said, I'm going to write 12 songs that I love and put them on a record and record them exactly how I want to, and just trust my instincts. And so that particular record got nominated for some British Country Music Awards, and that was like, just, it meant so much more, you know, than it would have if there'd been 1,000 voices in my head. Like, it was just, oh wow, like we did this. And so that was really special when that kind of all came about. And you're right, moving into this project, Lauren and I, you know, we have a vision for what we want. Like, it was, every song was just easy to write, to produce. Everything just flowed really well. And she actually ended up signing me to her record label as her first artist. And she and her husband both have just allowed me to be authentically me. And that's been just such a gift, and something that's so rare in this industry, as you both know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done a lot of the sold out tours too across the U.S., Jen, and of course playing the big time shows out there and venues like the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman, and other things out there. Now that shows are picking back up, and you mentioned you guys are getting ready to embark on another big tour coming up too as well. Talk about just having the fans back and what it's going to be like to step back on stage for the first time in a while. And of course you were keeping yourself busy, but stepping on stages such as the Opry and these sold out tours and opening for these big artists, or playing shows with these the likes of Richard Marx and some of these people that you played with, that experience is just amazing, I imagine, right?
Absolutely. And I feel this as many artists do, feel this incredible connection when you perform live and the audience is right there in the room with you, that you can't even explain it. It's just this feeling, and that has been lacking for sure, obviously, in this season. Thankfully, there have been a few venues here in Nashville that have stayed COVID safe, but have still had writers rounds and things like that. So I've still been able to play probably once or twice a month. So that, without that would have been heartbreaking. But I feel like actually going on tour and playing some full band shows, that I can't even express. I'm probably going to cry I'll probably cry mid-show for sure. But, you know, I don't think I'll ever take that for granted again. I don't know that I really did previously, but I think sometimes you're on the road and you're in a 3-week run of shows and you get to, second to last show and you're just exhausted. And, I think it'll be a reminder of, yeah, but what if you didn't get to do this, next time I'm out.
So the Opry, I did not look for the, I don't even know if it's out there. I didn't look for the performance, but knowing the Opry, I'm assuming that you had your opportunity to do the Opry coming off of Jealous of the Angels, which makes me assume that I'm sure you love having your band on stage. I'm sure you love having those guys. I'm guessing you did the Opry alone.
Yeah. So what's really crazy, and the song that you're mentioning, Jealous of the Angels, for those who don't know, is a very personal song about the loss of my dad. My brother and I were in a car accident with my dad when I was 10, and unfortunately my dad was killed in that accident. And music and songwriting was just the outlet that helped me to grieve through that time. And if you had told me at the start of this journey that I would end up on the Opry stage, vulnerably sharing the story of my dad and playing a song by myself on their giant piano, I would not have believed you. Because not only is that a huge dream come true, but I was never even wanting to be a piano player. And I just wanted to sing. I didn't even necessarily know what I was doing when I was writing, didn't realize that songwriting was even a career. I thought that, all the artists on the radio just wrote their songs from the time I was a kid. And once I found out that, oh, wow, I can, write songs, and if I want to write songs, I need to, really learn how to play an instrument. And so I started picking up guitar a little bit. I had taken piano lessons from the time I was a young kid, and I quit right before, I think in about 7th grade, I quit piano because I just never practiced, and I was really involved in sports. And man, I wish I hadn't quit. But I picked it back up, and it's always just kind of been like the weakest link of anything. So the fact that I was on that stage with only my own hands on the keys to get me through was just something that was, not anything that I ever thought would happen. And I'm so grateful because I think there is an intimacy that happens when it's just, a vocal and the instrument. So
yeah.
Well,
I want to follow up on this song before we leave it. The Jealous of the Angels project. I would love to hear your comments on that. I looked at that, and I think what you did with that project, not just the video, and I'm sure you've got stories about that, but the way you described how people could participate, I thought was so lovely, because my perception of it, intended or not, is that you recognized all of you may want to reach into this, but all of you could be in different stages of pain or grief or whatever. So I don't know if you read that, Brandon, but if you want to say something, you can. If you don't want to say something, just shoot a piece of video of you walking through someplace connected that connects you to the person that you lost. Or you really covered so many options just to encourage a way to open that door. I'm sure that was intentional. It had to be. But I'd love to kind of hear where that project came out of and what you wanted to do with it.
Yeah, thank you so much for those comments. It's difficult to tap into that, but I released the song originally 10 years ago, and the success that it had over in England and also here, it just was overwhelming. I had no idea what the song was when I first recorded it. It was just something that I wanted to record to honor my dad. And every single show, without fail, at least one person would come up and share their story. They'd become emotional. It was just this experience that when I was vulnerable, something gave people the permission to just break down their walls and be vulnerable as well. And that to me was just a huge honor and a huge responsibility, to be there and to be open to having those conversations. And after 10 years of playing that song, I had heard countless stories and gotten countless messages through these various social platforms or emails. And so the February 16th was the 25th anniversary of my dad's passing. And this version was already recorded at the end of last year. It was just something that I was getting ready to release this CCM project, and such a part of my testimony that it felt strange not to record it. You know, it felt like, let's try to record this in a way that puts Amazing Grace on the end of it. So that's the way I do it live, and people have been asking for that. And when I went back in the studio, I honestly like felt those stories. And the fact that people have connected with it so deeply and have shared, you know, very personal, not just, hey, I like this song, we used it in this funeral service. It's more, hey, here's my entire story. This is what happened. That's just so beautiful to me and so healing. Like before I started playing this song live, I had so much I still had to get out. And by getting on stage night after night and sharing my story, I was allowed to heal. So if I could give people just even a piece of that through the song, I wanted to be able to do it. And so my good friend Tiffany and I were just kind of brainstorming ideas on how I could reach out in a way that involved people. And this idea was born. And wow, I still can't make it through that video without crying. It's just so powerful. I had no idea if we'd get 10 submissions, whatever, because it's not just, oh, people want to be involved. It's, okay, this is a big step in sharing that, you know, is part of the grieving process that can be difficult. And I would totally understand if people weren't ready for that. So to get over 100 submissions was just mind blowing. And to have my friend Zach Knutson really just put them together so perfectly was a gift. And so I'm super thankful that I got to do that and that people have really connected that way.
Well, and I don't think they could have done that if the song hadn't come out 10 years ago, because I'm sure all of those people, you know, have followed your career. They know you, they know your story, and therefore they trust you with that piece that if somebody said, hey, I'm going to do this song, I promise it's going to impact you when we release it. You know, they were able to already have heard from you and trust that you would handle their hearts carefully. So, awesome. Great job.
Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song here. Well, time to grace us a little more, Jen, with that great talent. And you have a whole collection, of library full of good stuff that I could sit here and probably do an online concert for 30 minutes, but love your stuff so much. Grace us with that voice again, and dealer's choice, whatever you'd like to play.
Thank you. I'd love to play Jealous of the Angels for you.
Let's do it.
The new
All
version.
right.
I didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb, I can't feel anymore. Praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. You've always made my troubles feel so small. You were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again.
But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. I'm just jealous of the angels.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And I tell you what, I was feeling something all the way through that, and pardon me if I'm a little emotional right now, but
Thank you.
music does that. I am there's chills right down my spine, and Jeff knows I come back with the energy. But I tell you, it's thinking of my grandma, who's my guiding light and angel. I lost her in 2019, like a mother to me, and that's how much that song impacted me, Jen. So thank you for putting that out. Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
that's tough, and that's usually I don't break down on this show, Jeff, but that's a part of music, man. When it makes you feel something and it moves you. Commend you for that project. Great job on that song.
So much.
Just beautifully done there too. And also check her out, JennBostic.com, and of course, Jealous of the Angels. Amazing Grace is out there across all the digital platforms. I know we've talked so much about the industry and music, and now that shows are kind of getting back up there again. I wanted to ask you about what's been the best part getting into, I guess, being a musician, getting into this line of work, and then what's kind of backside of that, what's been the most challenging part?
Yeah, I think the best part of it is just that I get to wake up and create every day or share my heart every day. And I definitely don't take it for granted that I get to do what I love for a living. That being said, it comes with a little challenges, as you know. There's a lot of doubt involved that I constantly struggle with, and just you can sit in front of a keyboard and convince yourself that every idea I'm coming up with is bad, you know, and then you get kind of stuck or blocked. But I think that I've heard a lot of no in my career. I've heard a lot of rejection, or that I'm too pop for country and too country for pop, or I'm too Christian for pop, or you know, I'm not Christian enough to be a CCM artist, or whatever those things are. And it's, you know, I think that when I allow those things to suffocate me or to kind of like grow in my heart, I think that that's when I struggle the most. I think when I go out and play shows live and connect with people and see that the music is having an impact, that's, you know, when I'm reminded that what I do matters, and whatever scale that is, you know, special. And I feel like it's what I was born to do, you know, so there's nothing else I would want to be doing. And so I'm grateful that I get to do it.
You know, one of the, I don't even know if this is right, it's just the picture of you that I have painted. But recognizing that struggle, a lot of people kind of wind up relying on the people around them to kind of reinforce all that, which we all do. But creatively, I know that you seem to really embrace being independent as an artist, and the freedom that gives you. And it also seems like you are very detail oriented, and you really don't have time for the things that don't matter, and you really focus on the things that do matter, and you want to get the things that do matter right. I say that for this reason. 12 years in ballet means you were really thinking seriously about that at some point. And you're doing that on your own, right? I mean, more often than not, it's not a team, a baseball team.
Right.
You don't have the high school record in a relay. You have the high school record for the high jump. Again, you seem to really have been more comfortable than many taking it on and carrying it yourself so you could carry it where you wanted it to go.
Yeah, that's accurate. I feel like you just read me like a book. But I think that, and not to take this in a dark way by any means, but after much counseling in my adult life, I realized that achievement was something that I used to grieve. And so I just wanted to be the best at everything that I did. And so I jumped into sports, and I saw that I was good at high jump. So I, followed that track. And like you said, got the high jump high school record. And it was things that I felt like I always wanted to know my dad was proud of me. And so I would just try to do enough that how could he not be proud of me, And so I think that there is definitely that achiever mentality in me, but I think as I've gotten older, I've recognized where that comes from. And I still, who doesn't like to achieve things? Like, that's just a natural human thing anyway. But I do have an issue delegating sometimes, but I think that it's been a good thing and, and a challenging one. But you're right. Like, I've loved being an independent artist. Even the record label that I'm with now, allows me to be me. And that, like we said earlier, is very, very rare. And I think I've always just kind of been nervous that someone would try to turn me into something that wasn't authentic. And I feel like that's when music connects, is when it's authentic.
Yeah. No, that can definitely happen for sure. But and again, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't saying that in the context of, part of it can be what you described, but other parts is, I just think you don't waste your time. I think you like, doing things that matter, and you don't get distracted by unnecessary drama, things of that nature, the way a lot of people can, because they haven't figured out how to prioritize and what's important to them. And I just get the impression that you're really good at that. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Sounds like it.
I try.
I'm going to pull one from the audience here too. This is Dave saying, please come back, perform at the Spire in Plymouth, Mass. Soon. We'll miss your angelic voice out there too. And Kevin's saying here, he says, it hurts to do a Christian song too. We'll see how it goes. He says, how great, how hard. So, and then I love this part of it too. Just play, Jen, and play. So definitely appreciate some of the comments we're getting there. I tell you what, Jen, let's do another one, and we'll come back with the rapid fire and finish up here if you want to do one more for us. And let's do that. Why not?
All right. Well, you mentioned that record revival, so I'll do that title track.
Okay.
When you're tired and the way looks dark, when it takes everything you have not to fall apart, but just remember, like a morning star, to let the world see who you are. Well, there'll be trouble in this life, but there won't always be a bridge to the other side. Oh, but keep your head up and your spirits high, 'cause sooner or later will come your time. 'Cause there's a revival coming this way. Yeah, there's a freedom answers have packed up and gone. Yeah, and your hand is about to bleed from the knocking on. Well, don't give up now, for the day will come when your deserts meet the holy flood. 'Cause there's a revival coming this way. Yeah, there's a freedom that breaks every chain. You better get ready, 'cause it won't be long before revival is coming on. Set a fire inside of your veins, open the door and let in the rain. Revival, ooh, feel it tremble, what could it be? Shaking the ground right under your feet. Revival, ooh, spirit wind crawls into your breath, shaking the beat back into your chest. Revival, ooh, like a wave born out of a squall, you will awaken once and for all. Revival, take it to the river, take it to the river, take it to the river, take it to the river and wash it away. You got doubt, take it to the river. You got pain, take it to the river. You got fear, take it to the river. Go on and take it to the river and wash it away. You got sickness, oh, if you got shame, if you got a sin that needs forgiveness, go on and take it to the river, take it to the river, take it to the river. 'Cause there's a revival, it's coming this way. Yeah, there's a freedom that breaks every chain. You better get ready, 'cause it won't be long before revival is coming on.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And yes, it is smooth and warm finish, just like that voice. It's time to go to church here on the Backstage Pass, and that revival is something Jeff and I just, again, swaying back and forth, amazed at the super talent of Jenn Bostic here on the Backstage Pass, again, presented by our good friends at Toir Guitars and Bangtail Whiskey, and also JK Super. Speaking of Bangtail, it's the official whiskey sponsor, too, now of the Justin Moore podcast. So there you go, back in the how good the stuff is. If you hadn't gotten a bottle, check it out, that Easy Liquor app. Hey, something cool next week that we found out here on the show, too, Jen, a whole new project. May 7th is coming out. A beautiful project. Tell me about this, and I know the pre-save is available now.
Yes. So the producer of my new album that is under my name that's coming out in 2022, most of it was produced by a guy named Benj Hurd. And Benj has become just a great friend of mine, and he's also an amazing artist. So we wrote a song for his record called Pray You Away, and he released a solo version of it not too long ago. And then he reached out and he's like, this song just really should be a duet. So we've done this entire thing virtually, which has been amazing. And even the photos, like down to the photo shoot, we had to like get the art, 2 different photos, but mend them together so they look like one, which has just been so much fun. And to record all those vocals from home, because that's what we're doing nowadays, has just been so fun. And it's a little bit different from the stuff that I would normally release, so I'm excited about that. It's pretty pop, and I got to do a lot of fun vocal acrobats, if you will. So, and Benj is just, like I said, an incredibly talented artist. So that is Pray You Away, and it's available coming out May 7th.
There we go, and it's pre-save. Pre-save now, pre-save available.
And again, it's one of those kind of projects that, if you had a record label and he had a big record label, there'd be attorneys and you'd have to work out all this stuff that you wouldn't be able to just decide if you wanted to do it, you know?
Right.
So that's great.
It's a blessing.
Looking forward to it too. Hey, we'll finish a little rapid fire, but I did want to get your feedback on. I know 2012 was 5 Independent Country Music Association awards that you had to be proud of. Best songwriter, best musician, and overall winner too at that. Tell me about just that feedback. Of course, you've been doing this for a while now too, but other media publications, your peers, people that come forward and different things like that. How did that make you feel when you got that feedback?
Totally humbled. Honestly, I was just psyched to be nominated, and then to take home so many of those awards was just overwhelming. I think that, we all just try to be vulnerable and real throughout our art, and hopefully it connects. But as long as it's, real to you and it's coming out, you gotta just believe in it. And I'm super thankful that people connected to it in such a strong way that it led to those awards. And I know that, awards aren't everything, but when they do come, it is a huge encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that sense of validation is just, I love that too. Just puts a stamp right on that career that is still going forward too. And I agree with Kevin. He says, smooth. The Lord will guide you and comfort you through your struggle. And that's the song Revival. We love that song, no doubt about it. All right, so I got to ask you about this, Jen. A couple little funny rapid fire questions I'll throw at you, and this is a way for us to get to know you a little bit more here on the show. What's been the binge watching? What have you kind of gotten into? What series, what TV show?
Ooh, I watched The Office for the first time during quarantine, which has been great. That I do love Schitt's Creek as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's so many good ones out there. This Is Us. I watched that one as well.
All right, so let's say this. I love this one. Jeff and I are coming over to the house, and you're ordering a pizza, and you're like, you're a guest. You can have some wine, but this is just my pizza. You'll have to order our own personal one. If it's a pizza for just Jenn Bostic, what are you putting on it?
Pepperoni and pineapple.
And that's where I keep a hand off too, Jeff. I'm not a pineapple person on pizza. I would say he would have to get your separate order.
My husband doesn't like it either, so I always have to wait until it's personal size pizza, because it does, the juices of the pineapple run into the rest of the pizza. You can't do a half pineapple.
I love that. Good stuff too. Jeff, you got one for rapid fire?
Yeah, I'm curious. As much as you talk about all the different kind of music you like to play, you're obviously a huge music fan. You do a lot of covers, a lot of people that you like, you do stuff. I'm taking credit for probably 100 of Used to Be Mine that went up the last couple of weeks. And I love Me Like a Man. I thought your vocal on that was killer. But you've done so many. Do you have a favorite of those covers that you have done?
I don't know if it's just new or that there's a deep love of musical theater in my heart, but that Used to Be Mine cover was pretty fun to do. And I actually couldn't get through it. I had to record that so many times because I was crying towards the end of it, because is that song relatable in so many ways. And just what's really special is I actually sent the link to Sarah Bareilles, and she sent me a direct message back, and she's like, "Wowee, I really love this," which was just everything, because I love her, and just to have that little encouragement was very sweet. But that song's really special, especially in this season of life. And of course, I'm a big Bonnie Raitt fan though as well. So Love Me Like a Man.
Yeah,
I've been singing that song since I was 16.
Yeah, well, great stuff.
I'll tell you, she can sing the phone book and then some. Hey, I want to put it out here again. Pray You Away drops next week on Friday, May 7th. Pre-save available now. Get your copy out there. Of course, I know all the great platforms. And then we've talked about Jealous of the Angels, Amazing Grace. Man, she's amazing. Just put it in many words out there. But many adjectives to describe her in that beautiful voice. JennBostic.com. And, of course, out there wherever you can find music. Jen, we appreciate the time here on the show and looking forward to reconnecting once the new projects come out. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night.
That's awesome. JennBostic.com. Pray You Away next Friday, May 7th. And, of course, we're back. We're actually done for the week now, I guess. And back next week, the great Neil McCoy is stopping by next week on Tuesday. Stoney LaRue and a whole bunch more. Ray Benson, Asleep at the Wheel, May 12th. So look out for that here on the Backstage Pass. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, Toir Guitars, and JK Subaru of Southeast Texas. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Another great week here on the Backstage Pass. We'll talk to you Monday.